When did that happen, by
So
the way?
that was in the 80s.
Because I was like, I don't ever remember ICE.
Yeah. It was in the 80s when President Reagan passed amnesty. My parents were able to get permanent residency. And so I was able to get it, and my brother.
That's ironic. And good, though. I mean, that's back when politicians used to work together, too.
Yeah, exactly. So I remember being in line at the INS office at 5 a.m. and, not just filling out our paperwork, but like helping all the other families. And, from there, I remember one story when I was about 9 or 10, and I got so good at it that my mom recognized how good I was at it that she started volunteering me for stuff.
Oh, she would loan you out as a translator?
She would loan me out. I would come home from school and there'd be like total strangers there. And my mom would be like, oh, I met so-and-so on the bus. She needs help with her papers. And I told her you could do it. And I'm like, Mom, can I have a sandwich first? I was a kid. So I was like, I just want to play. Do I really have to sit here an hour and do this? But, that's all part of of course, I'm very grateful for it now.
Right.
When I was in high school, Prop 187 came out.
Pete Wilson, right?
Pete Wilson.
Son of a gun.
That was also kind of like, and I had already been like, a pretty out kid. I was in class always asking questions, and
that motherfucker had the nerve, I'm going to say it, had the nerve to like pop his head back up this election cycle too.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like, fuck. So that's how I got started. I Prop 187, I was in high school, and, I remember my teachers, I had a history teacher who was supporting him. And,
oh my God.
Yeah.
Like openly?
Openly. And
son of a gun.
Like, you're illegal. Like, you don't belong here. All this rhetoric that we are hearing today was very like outward in my high school in Oakland. And that kind of got me really connected to like a lot of different community organizations in the area. We did a bunch of youth, pickets and strikes. And
that's awesome.
That's kind of how I got connected. And then I got a job right out of high school working as a community organizer. And then I got pregnant. I was going to Laney, and then I got pregnant with my son. And I kept doing the community organizing work. And then I got pregnant with my second son, and he had a lot of health issues when he was born. He had asthma, allergies. And I'm
going to raise my hand. I dealt with a lot of that too.
And being a community organizer, I didn't have health insurance. Oh. And, it was, and through that
you grew up fast then.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no like partying days and
no,
just cruising, having fun.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do it now.
Oh, okay, good. You're catching up.
I'm catching up.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you. So Laney kids.
Yeah, Laney kids. And then I met an SEIU organizer who knew me when I was a kid. And she called me and she's like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, I'm here doing organizing. She's like, come work for me at SEIU. And I was like, no, I'm good. I like what I'm doing. And she said, we have health insurance. And I was like, okay,
wow.
So I went to work for SEIU UHW. It used to be Local 250.
Okay.
And I was their receptionist for about 6 months, and then got promoted to...
And of course, they were probably using you everywhere at the time, right?
Yeah. And so then I was an education trainer, and then I just by the time I left there, I was their assistant director of education and nursing home division. So, and I was there for 10 years.
So the nursing home division, that's been interesting times too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, again,
we'll have to talk about that one offline, but I'm just kind of curious how that ended up. Because I was up just on the nursing home part. I was up in the North Bay around the time, and then that was when, there was the splinter group, and they were trying to form the new union and unaffiliated. So,
yes.
But you've been going basically in the hard fight your whole life.
Yes. Yeah.
So basically you started with immigrant rights and then moved on to labor, which obviously kind of go hand in hand too.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. And then I've been in labor ever since.
Man. So how did you end up here? I'm here being the Alameda
Labor Council.
Yeah, Labor Council.
After the UHW, kind of the Local 250 UHW breakup, or
right,
that I took a little break, and then there was an opening here for
you deserved a break at that point. Raising kids, working
I had
in
my
the
little
community.
girl at that point too, so I really wanted to spend time with her.
Oh man!
So I took a break, and then there was an opening here for a community services director here at the Alameda Labor Council. I applied for that and got it, and then about a year later, got promoted to political director.
Moving on up.
And then I went to work for AFSCME as their political / lobbyist, which I had no idea what I was doing or what that even was. So I was with them for 5 years. I worked mostly in the Capitol. So
really?
Yeah.
Out in Sacramento?
Yeah, I was in Sacramento. They told me it was very little travel, once in a while. And then I ended up being up there for 5 days.
Yeah, no kidding. That's where all the action's at.
Yeah, exactly. I loved it.
Oh, really? Yeah. The Capitol's kind of cool.
Yeah. I mean, it was very thrilling and interesting to watch. And those stories I've heard about how, working families really get fucked in the middle of the night if we're not there. Yeah. It was very real. It was very real. And I definitely had days where I didn't want to be there.
This was in the 2000s, right?
Yeah, about 7 years ago now.
Okay.
8 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was very,
in the 20s.
Very, very white male dominated environment.
Boy, I'll tell you. Speaking of which, that's this whole Trump thing right now is so weird.
Yeah.
It's like it's old white men, and then they seem to find a lot of misogynist, people of color too, who are, probably more into male dominance than they are into, helping their own people. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, and
easy for me to say as a white guy. I got to be.
I mean, it's even within labor. Like, we got to look at ourselves too.
Stale, male, and pale.
Yeah. I mean, I've walked into rooms where I'm literally the only female.
Ugh. But that's good though. I mean, it's not good, but you're in there breaking it down. You know. And
that's what I hope, at least.
So what's next for the ALC? I mean, so the election's over. Mm-hmm. And now what's on the radar? I mean, has Alameda Health settled that thing up? Or?
Oh, yeah. Well, okay, let me take that step back.
Or are we not supposed to talk about it?
Oh, no, there's still negotiations.
Okay. But they're on track now.
But they're on track now, hopefully. Knock on wood. But another big win in the middle of all of this. Crazy elections. We were able to win a victory where the Alameda Board of Supervisors finally recognized that their trustees who had been appointed by them were anti-union and were forcing us to strike. And
at Alameda Health? At
Alameda Health. And after 2 years and a 5-day strike, they finally took a vote to fire them.
Oh, so they got rid of the trustees who were appointed?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
Well, that can be everything. You just get some of those personalities out of the room that people dig in on principle.
Yes.
Yeah, principle's tough to negotiate against.
Correct.
Oh, good. So, so I take it they're taking a more cooperative stance?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, that'll be a big one over there.
Yes.
Yeah, I've had a little bit of dealing with Alameda Health, and I can't say that they were particularly labor-friendly.
No, I mean, they were very anti-union.
Yeah, I didn't want to.
No, I'll say it. I said it.
Call them out.
I said it at the public, Board of Supervisors. And, one of the trustees said, who are you? And this is surprising.
I'm a trustee. How dare you speak? Yeah.
Yeah. And who are you? And, I'm surprised and appalled. And, this is shocking to me that you guys are going on strike during the pandemic. And it was just really?
No, I know. And especially, it always ends up, patient care always ends up with the people closest to the patients having to fight for patient care, whether it's the number of, patients nurses see, or, we've seen this over and over again in labor for the last 30 years. Yeah.
Income inequality has always been there. It just gets highlighted during a pandemic, and all these people who have been pretending that it's not there.
Right.
Actually,
and the essential workers for sure,
Yeah. And they actually have to look at it, right?
Yeah.
They have to see it every day. And then it becomes a thing, uncomfortable. And it becomes a chart and a statistic that we've always known was there because we fight for this stuff.
Right.
But all of a sudden, they are forced to see it themselves.
Oh, good. I'm so glad, because I mean, especially now, healthcare workers, you cannot say enough about what they're doing and the things they have to deal with during the pandemic. It's crazy. And then
and
fingers crossed on the vaccine. Let them start first. So
yeah, and they're serving our lowest, most vulnerable communities.
It's so funny, the whole essential worker thing. How you really find out who matters. It's during the pandemic, because now everybody's concerned about having their power on and having food to eat, and stockbrokers don't seem so fucking important anymore. Right.
Or it was all about the Safeway workers,
right?
And the delivery.
Yeah,
folks.
We need the delivery guys, and we need the stocking guys, and the warehouse guys, and the trucking guys, and
all of a sudden now they're all heroes.
They're heroes. Yeah. Oh my God, I forget who I was listening to, and they said, when they start calling you a hero, like get nervous because they're about to throw you into the fire.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's why hazard pay has been such a big issue, and trying to get anybody hazard pay,
Yeah, and paid sick leave.
I know. And then on top of that, they have to deal with their kids, distance learning, and on and on and on. Welcome 2020.
Exactly.
That's why I'm so excited with Joe Biden now being president-elect and taking the pandemic seriously. It's like we can deal with this thing and move on.
Yeah.
And at least start heading towards the new normal instead of just pretending it's not happening.
Yeah. I agree. But we can't get our, what is it called? Our foot off the gas.
Oh, I know. And that Georgia's going to be tough, man.
Yeah.
The two Senate races in Georgia.
Yeah. We have to win that, Georgia.
What did you do election day? Because I was hoping, I'll be honest, raised my hand. I was hoping for, kind of a wipeout. Mm-hmm. And man, the Republicans, their GOTV was great.
Yeah.
You have to admit it. And it was really kind of discouraging.
I guess I wasn't expecting a wipeout, as a woman of color and having experienced all these just racist and sexist that are now openly given the authority to be out there.
Oh my God, the things that people can say now in public.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, where was it used to be people would be ashamed to use racial slurs and to even be thought of as, being a racist. And now it's like, they're running free.
Yeah.
And the scary thing was, and this is one thing that dawned on me, and of course I'm a white male, so it takes me a while, but on election night, is I always knew, because I think Trump's appeal has always been racism. I think Make America Great Again means make America white and male and, and 1950s again, right? Mm-hmm. In a white male dominated world. And so, it's ambiguous enough to where, some people can take it different ways, but if you're a white nationalist, right? It hits you right between the eyes of, yes, let's make America great again. Let's make it white again. And what dawned on me, because the election was so close, is just because it's always been kind of the closet person that may not even realize that they're racist or that they have a bias, and they're voting going, I like what he's saying. Mm-hmm. But it was, we're all disappointed on just how racist, America is. And I'm thinking of that. Did you see that Saturday Night Live skit from 2016, the election night one?
Mm-mm. Oh, where they were,
where all the white people, all the white people were like, "Oh my God, I can't believe people are voting for Trump."
Yes.
And then you got Chris Rock and
they're like, "Yeah, what are y'all talking
where y'all
about?
Been?
Where you have been?" That's how I've been feeling.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just shocked though, just at how racist people are.
Yeah.
It's really discouraging.
And it's funny because we're in the Bay Area, right? So we assume we're in the safe bubble.
Right.
But we're not.
We're in Northern California, man.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be super cool and, evolved.
I see it every election cycle just with our own precinct walkers, right? If I send a precinct walker, an African-American or a Latino precinct walker to Dublin or Livermore or Alameda, I know that they're going to get the police called on them.
Son of a gun.
9 times out of 10, that's exactly what happens. So none of this
and that's
is
here. And
this is the Bay Area.
The Bay Area.
Yep.
For crying out loud.
Yep.
What are you going to do? What's Liz going to do without an election to take up 24 hours of her time?
Keep up fighting with them, bosses and these corporate interests that are still there, regardless of an election or not.
Well, what do you think? So, as executive secretary treasurer of Alameda Labor Council. What do you think is the biggest labor challenge in Alameda right now?
I would say the pandemic is still a huge challenge.
Right.
We have a lot of, the paid sick leave that I talked about.